You know, there's this quiet moment that happens in pretty much every family story. It's that moment when the air just shifts. It's when a parent looks at their kid and realizes they're not a kid anymore. And that same kid looks back at their parent and sees they're not invincible. So today, we're going to dive into that really tender, often unspoken shift in the relationship between parents and their adult children. And you know who just nails this? The researcher Brené Brown. She says, we rarely talk about this moment, yet it defines the second half of love. Wow. Think about that. It's not about the beginning or even the end. It's about this vital middle ground where our connection, our love, it has to evolve if it's going to survive.
So, that's the big question, right? How do we actually navigate this major shift? How do we move from a place of guidance to one of grace? Let's get into it.
Okay, so let's start with the first step. And honestly, this is the one that so many families find the most challenging. It's all about learning how to let go of control while somehow at the same time staying closer than ever. It's a huge move, really, from authority to authenticity.
So there's actually a term for this, and it's not as scary as it sounds. Developmental psychologist Laurence Steinberg calls it emotional differentiation. Basically, it's about the relationship moving from being hierarchical, parent as the expert, child as the student, to one that's mutual. It's collaborative. And here's the absolute key. Your authority as a parent might be over, but your influence? Oh, that hasn't gone anywhere.
So what does this actually look like in real life? Well, it's a big shift. It looks like moving from supervising their life to celebrating it. It's going from giving directions to asking really curious questions. It's all about releasing that tight grip of control to find a much deeper, more real connection. I love how family educator Dr. Jim Burns puts it. He says it so bluntly. Your adult child doesn't need another manager. They need a cheerleader. I mean, that just says it all, doesn't it? The role has fundamentally changed. It's all about support and encouragement now.
Dr. Gary Chapman, the guy who wrote The Five Love Languages, has this just beautiful way of describing this. He says that love becomes bilingual. So parents who spent years saying be safe now learn how to say I trust you. And adult children who, let's be honest, might have rolled their eyes a few times, now learn to say thank you. Love learns to speak two languages at once, affection and respect.
But let's be real. This kind of evolution doesn't just happen on its own. It takes real hard work. It means finding totally new ways to connect with each other.
And a huge area where this gets tested is just helping. We all want to help our families, of course, but we have to stop and ask a really critical question. At what point does our help actually start to hurt?
Yeah, help can definitely hurt. It hurts when it's really about our anxiety, not their actual need. It hurts when it robs them of a tough lesson that, frankly, only struggle can teach. And it really hurts when it becomes a way of steering them, not supporting them. At that point, it's not love anymore. It's just fear in disguise. Laurence Steinberg gives us another fantastic visual for this. He calls it emotional scaffolding. Just picture it. Think of your support like the scaffolding you see on a building that's being constructed. You put it up to provide some temporary support so they can build themselves up, right? But the goal is always, always to take it down eventually so that the finished building can stand tall all on its own.
So, how do we have these tricky conversations? Well, counselors Gerald and Marlene Kaufman have this super practical tool called conversation agreements. It's basically a simple promise you make to each other. You could agree to only give advice when someone actually asks for it, or you agree to listen without jumping in, or, and this is a big one, you agree to try to understand each other, not to win the argument. It's all about creating emotional safety.
And it's not just what you say, it's all about how you say it. There is real science to this. It shows our tone can literally decide whether honesty is going to heal or harm. When their brain hears blame or judgment, our stress response just spikes. But when that exact same honest message is delivered with empathy, stress levels drop way down and the message can actually land. It can be heard. Okay, so we've talked about all the hard work. Phew. Now let's get to the good part, the destination. It's all about rediscovering and really cultivating the simple pleasure of joy in this new relationship. Real, true joy in a family, it's not always found in the big, splashy events. It's not something that needs to be scheduled on a calendar, but it absolutely needs to be noticed. It's found in the small stuff, in just sharing your attention on something simple, like a walk or a meal. It's grown through small, consistent acts of love.
It's built by turning laughter into a ritual and by actually speaking our gratitude for each other out loud. Marlene Kaufman has this wonderful insight. She says, laughter is emotional glue. It repairs things without words. Isn't that great? Sometimes the most healing thing a family can do is just find a way to laugh together again. And sustaining that joy, well, it's an intentional practice. If you look here, it's really a mix of ingredients. You can see gratitude and laughter are huge parts of it, but they're held up by all these other things too, like shared moments, the discipline of forgiveness, and just choosing to celebrate each other. All right, let's bring this all home with one last thought on this beautiful, and I think sacred, journey of the evolving parent-child bond. And we're going to end with one more piece of wisdom from Brené Brown, because it just sums it all up so perfectly. She reminds us, you don't have to have the perfect relationship to have a beautiful one. Just keep showing up. The goal isn't perfection. It never was. The goal is connection. Which really just leaves us with one final personal question. Thinking about everything we've talked about today, from letting go to finding joy, what is one small way you can show up for your family this week?